Hey everybody, Nancy here from American Pet Professionals. Happy Tuesday and welcome to another spring episode of Digging into the Pet Industry. We are broadcasting live right here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So wherever you're watching from, thank you so much for watching. And if you're listening to a future podcast episode, thank you so much for listening. Today, I'm excited to bring you not one, but two guests. Two of our members from American Pet Professionals, Keith Bowles and Dr. Ray Bowles, and they are both from Raw by Design. Oh, we'll have to go like that. All right. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. Great, thanks.
I'm so excited that you guys are here so we can talk about your journey into the pet industry. And here on Digging into the Pet Industry, we kind of just jump right in. So I would love to know, Keith, we're going to start with you, what your background was before you opened your store.
Okay, so going way back, I was, handling customer service and help desk type of stuff for 1-800-Flowers and some other digital companies, and then got involved in a doggy daycare and boarding and grooming and training business in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
And then, I've got 6 dogs, so feeding
Wow.
them raw for a while after Ray started feeding his dog raw, and I saw the benefits. And we've always wanted to do something together, so here we are.
That's amazing. So you have pet industry experience for quite a while before you started a retail store,
Correct.
which isn't always the case with a lot of our guests. Most of them have gone from one career, two careers, and now they're in the pet industry. So, Dr. Ray, tell us why you have the doctor in front of your name and what it is that you did or do.
So I'm a chiropractor for 33 years. I've been working with health and nutrition for people for 33 years. But I had started my dog on raw food when she was a year old, and saw the tremendous benefits from it. And then between my dog, my daughter's 2 dogs, so there's usually 3 dogs in my house. And then working with Keith and then getting his dog started with all of his 6 dogs, we saw the benefits. And again, as Keith said, we always wanted to do something together, and we thought this was a great opportunity.
I love that. I love that. I love the family, bond and the family business and what you guys have done. What year was it that you started feeding your dog raw?
Let's see. So she's 7 now. So yeah, 6 years ago, 20. Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't as mainstream 6 years ago. People probably thought, "What are you doing? You're feeding your dog raw? What do you mean?" Right?
Yeah, it was. It definitely wasn't. But I again knew the benefits of the health benefits. I feel feeding the dogs kibble is essential, like us eating McDonald's. So
Yeah.
I knew the benefits of the health benefits for the dog. And again, definitely got some flack from it because people be like, you can't do that. But I said, the proof is in the pudding. You look and see how healthy and how well the dogs have done.
Wow. And what convinced you with 6 dogs? Because that could be quite costly.
Well, I saw the benefits with his dog with Peach, and I wanted to do something better and healthier for my dogs. Um, Definitely, a couple of them were a little bit overweight, some skin and fur issues type of thing. So I saw it firsthand with Peach how great it was, and so it was easy enough to switch over and never looked back because they've been doing fantastic.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear. So how long did it go from having a conversation about, doing something together, working on something together, to opening your own store, like finding a location? When did that start?
Oh boy, I would say, we've been talking about a business opportunity for the two of us for years, years and years and
Okay.
years, but never really could come up with what we thought would make the most sense. And I would say we probably started looking 2023.
Yeah, somewhere around there. 'Cause we did see another location that wasn't, it wound up not being the right fit for us until we found the one where we are currently. This is an amazing location. But yeah, it was probably around 23 or so. Didn't take, yeah.
So a couple of years to find a
Yeah.
location to kick off, and you're coming up on your 1 year anniversary in July. Is that correct?
Yep, in the
Yes.
store. Yep, absolutely.
Wow, that went fast. I feel, what did I meet you guys, like 6, 7? I think you were only open a couple of months when I first
It
came
was
to the
very
store to
early.
meet
Yeah,
you.
you're right.
Yeah.
And what's interesting too is that when people ask us, how long have you been here? In my mind, I still keep saying, oh, just, a few months.
Just a couple months, yeah.
Yeah, now you can say a year. You should have it. I don't know if you are having a grand 1 year anniversary or having anything to celebrate.
We,
We have to plan it.
we have to plan it. Yes, we're a little bit behind on planning that, but we have to get it done.
That's okay. That's okay. You can do it all of July. It doesn't have to be July 1st.
Yes, very good. Full month of July.
You don't have to have one big thing. You can, which is fun. But so, I know why you guys do feed raw and the benefits of it. What is some of the things that customers say to you when they first are learning about raw, and how do you talk to them about it for them to understand the benefits of it?
So we're gonna get, so once we explain to them basically what you should be looking for in terms of just overall the softer coat, cleaner teeth, fresher breath, better muscle tone. You explain it all to them, and they just they take it in. But then once they come back and give some feedback and talk about how exactly what we told them is going to happen and how well the dogs have done and how happy they are, and many of them who had significant issues with feeding their dogs on other types of food, and just couldn't get it under control, and
Yeah.
how quickly it changes.
Yeah. What do you see day to day, Keith?
The same. I mean, people come in, they'll ask about, kibble versus raw. They'll tell us that their vet wants them to stay on kibble, but they're curious and they've done some research on their own. They want to know if raw is better. And we always explain, like Ray said, feeding them kibble is like McDonald's, and regardless of which kibble you feed, it could be like comparing McDonald's to Burger King and Wendy's, but you're never going to get that higher level of nutrition and health benefits unless you go to raw.
That's interesting. Now, does it take time? Like if you get some people to come in and they're curious, they want to try it, and they're like, I want to try it, but I'm nervous. Do you have a plan of action for them? Like maybe you have samples, or how does it work in that regard?
So very often, depending on what, the dog they have, the age of the dog, depends on which type of raw we're going to offer them. But very often we'll give them a 1 pound sample of a particular protein and have them try it. Just start introducing it to their dog, see if they like it, see how it goes, and then we kind of build up from there. Some folks come in and they just want they're
Start right away.
full raw, and they want 2 weeks worth of food, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Very cool. Go
We
ahead.
do tell people that you don't have to transition from one to the other. You can basically switch from one, but if you want to do a blend, very often they have some kibble they want to finish up, or they feel they're going to waste that. They can, blend the two of them and gradually transition over. But we give them all the instructions how much they should be eating, just based on the dog's weight. And yeah, come back. We either follow up with them or they're back in the store pretty quickly to let us know how well they did.
Right. And I love that you have a scale in your store. So that kind of helps too, right? If you have a dog that maybe is overweight, and then you can track their progress next time they come in.
Yeah, and that's very often it's a surprise to be able to say, oh, I think my dog's 40 pounds. Okay, let's weigh him. And then they get on the scale and the dog is 52 pounds.
Yeah. Maybe they were 40 pounds, a couple of years ago. Because our dogs are very good at begging for food, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So do you guys carry any other products besides, I mean, I know you carry like treats and stuff like that, but do you carry any other products that are not raw, like a home cooked type of product or anything along those lines?
Yes, we do have a gently cooked option that is locally made on Long Island. And we have raw, we have freeze dried raw as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have, accessories. We have slow feeder bowls, we have collars, leashes, toys, CBD.
Okay. And you're in one of the most quaint towns on Long Island in Cold Spring Harbor. So I always tell people, if you have not gone to Cold Spring Harbor, you must go. You have a really great location where you are, and you have a backyard and of everything for your store. So it's kind of interesting because most retail stores don't have a backyard to them.
True. Yeah. So we love the yard as part of what sold us on this location. It allows us to have events in the backyard. We can host adoption events. We're looking to do other collaboration events in the yard with the town as long as well as there's a couple of local breweries around here that are very dog friendly, and we want to have some kind of yappy hour.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we have puppy yoga coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppy
That'll
yoga.
be the sellout. That's really great. So now that you're almost a year in business, what has been one thing that you have learned so far? We'll start with you, Ray.
One thing I learned. Well, I will say it's just being in the store. It's a very fair weather area. So if it's a beautiful day, everybody's out there walking their dogs. They're coming in. They're coming in off the hiking trail, and I really have a lot of people to speak with and explain and get them started. The rainier weather doesn't bring as many people, but the people who've already started on the food are coming in.
Okay.
But I definitely got to work with a lot of people just on overall on what their dogs are eating, what they've done up until this point, and being able to help them transition. And again, seeing some really tremendous results.
That's great. What about you, Keith? What have you learned in the last year? Different than your last businesses.
Yes. So I've learned a lot about inventory. Something I wasn't thinking about, inventory and point of sale systems and kind of all that stuff. And even just from an inventory perspective, just the outlay of funds to have inventory in the store, and then well wait, that one's not moving, people aren't buying it, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And it is a perishable product for the most part, for the frozen raw and various treats, etc. So it's been a little bit of a juggling act, and trying to figure out how this all works and what to do, because in my previous life, retail, it wasn't a perishable product.
Right.
So,
interesting. And so what trend have you seen in the past year with your customers? It could be in terms of like shopping, like you said, with the weather, educating them. Have you seen any trends that have come around in the last year?
I definitely see people are more aware of raw feeding, and possibility of supplements and things for their dogs. We've had quite a few people who started out by feeding their dogs, home cooked meals,
Yep.
or they'll prep several weeks worth of vegetables and meats, whatever. But it takes them, several hours to do all that prep work. And by the time you buy all of that at the store, between the butcher and the produce and everything else, and then prepare it all, or you could come and purchase it, and also when you're doing it at home, you don't know if you have all the right ratios of muscle meat and organ meat and bone, etc. So what we have here is, yes, it's commercially prepared, but it is prepared specifically for the dog's diet and what their requirements are.
One of the things that I have seen is probably one of the most common things that people say when they come into us is like, oh my God, I live right in town, or I live right down the road. I had no idea you were here. They come in, walk around, they're like, oh my God, this place is beautiful. I love what you're doing here. I love what you have to offer. So then, they come in, they buy some treats, maybe we start them on some raw food, but they come back. They're so happy. It's such a positive response that we're getting from people. And they're back in the store within, usually within a week or so.
Because we're providing them a personalized approach and menu for their dog based on their needs, and it's not a one size fits all.
No.
Yeah, I would say that was my reaction when I came. I said the same thing, I think, right? Because I was like, this spot is amazing. This is so cool. The store looks great. And I know I've been back a few times since, and you've added more things to it. So I'm curious to see how it looks when I come back soon to check it out and see what else you have in there. What would you say, besides raw food, like in terms of other products in your stores, like a top seller?
Raw food? Treats.
Treats.
Yeah.
Treats.
Natural jerkies, the treats, that's probably the tops. Almost nobody leaves without buying some sort of treats.
Yeah.
And it's usually the jerkies.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm always curious. I know my dog Cody was trying to shoplift the last time he was there. I have a pretty funny video of him like trying to pull something. I'm like, you can't just take that. Oh, it's too funny. So besides the inventory, has anything that really surprised you about being a retail shop owner versus your past careers and your current career as a doctor?
Tell you what, something Ray has mentioned to me many times is that, as a chiropractor, he has patients, they're coming to see him because they're in pain.
Yeah.
And in my customer service, experience in, 30 years of customer service, I was dealing with people with problems. And so they weren't always the nicest
Yeah.
or in the best mood.
Yeah.
Everybody that walks through this door has a smile on their face,
Yeah.
whether they have a dog with them or not, but how could you not if you have your dog with you?
Right.
And so every day is a good day.
Yeah, I deal with people every day that are in pain, and they're very nice people. They come to see me.
Yeah. But they're in
Because they're
pain.
help them. It's a positive experience. But when I come into the store and the dogs are happy, the people are happy. The dogs, I have customers that come in and they say, "Listen, my dog does not do stairs at home, and it's a set of stairs to come into here. This is the only place they do stairs. They pull their owners down the stairs into the store because
Yeah.
again, they're happy, and
Yeah.
so their owners."
I love that. And I love that you guys have partnered with other local businesses, some of them in the same industry, like 50 feet away, and you guys are cross promoting each other because there's no competition there. It's two different businesses, but you both have the retail element. So that's something I actually cherish when I see businesses doing, because that's part of, like, when I started, I'm like, if you guys work together, you'll just build each other's businesses up. And I love you started that from the get-go.
We are truly trying to collaborate and not compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your own competition should be yourself, not anybody else, right? That's kind of the way I look at it. So, what are you guys launching that's new with Raw by Design? Anything coming up that you can tell us about?
Well, so we just partnered up with a company called Trellis, and they are like a local, call it like a local DoorDash.
Okay.
So they have an app. They're in Nassau County. We're their first retail location in Suffolk County.
Okay.
But people will be able to, they'll advertise, they'll be able to see Trellis affiliates, so to speak, near them, and then they can order from the Trellis app, and we'll get the order that we can either set it up for delivery, or they can do like a curbside pickup. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's really
yeah.
cool.
and it's similar to DoorDash, but it's much less expensive from our perspective.
Okay.
DoorDash gets 30% plus of every order. Trellis gets 10%.
And are they a local company?
They are. They're.
Oh,
I believe they are in Long Beach.
okay. And you're close enough to the Nassau border. I mean, you're kind of,
We are right on
yeah.
the.
Right on the border.
Yeah. That's really cool. I hadn't heard of them. So people can download the app that are locally listening and watching and get their deliveries done, and they don't have to worry about it, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And when does that start? Or has it started already?
It's actually live now.
Okay.
Like within the last 2 days.
Okay. And what do you find the most challenging when it comes to running a specialized pet retail store? Because there's a lot of retail stores out there that have everything in their store. They might have a freezer for raw, they might have kibble, they have products and supplies. What do you find the most challenging since you are so niche down?
I would say one of the most challenging is people coming in with dogs and say dog allergies.
Mm,
Most people come in and say the dog's allergic to chicken.
okay.
And it isn't necessarily that they're always allergic. It just could be an intolerance, but just working with them to trying to get them to be comfortable with the different foods. But very often, as we know, not all veterinarians are comfortable with the raw. So a lot of times, just educating the customers and so they understand, what you're feeding them, why, and what to look for.
Yeah.
Um, and they do come back and they're very happy that they have started. But sometimes just getting through that initially, they come in and say, all right, tell me about raw, so.
I love that, because I just feel like that personalized one-on-one education about the products you're selling, it shines through to the customers, and that's why they keep coming back, like you were saying earlier. Do you have any like upcoming educational events for pet parents, or are you just more comfortable doing it like one-on-one in the store?
We've talked about it.
We've talked about it. We don't have anything specifically set, but, and we're obviously very comfortable doing the store, but we would like to do something.
Okay. All right. Well, I know a couple people, so if you have any suggestions, let me know.
Sure.
So, What would you tell somebody that is new that is coming into the industry, especially brick and mortar? You know, in 2024, you guys launched last year. A lot of pet stores were sadly closing, and a lot like local to me. I think there was three in like a 5 mile radius to us, and I was like, no. So, you know, you launched at a time where some of the stores were closing. Now I see more stores opening. What would you tell somebody that's coming into this space right now? Any piece of advice that you wish you had when you were opening?
In terms of opening, in other words, in terms of opening up this type of a business.
Yeah, any kind of like retail store.
So I think one of the best things that we said is really trying to collaborate with a lot of the other local businesses. We try and work with everybody that's literally in town here. We're in the process of getting started up with another local business that started off originally with nutritional products for people, and now they're doing it, having a whole supplement line for dogs. So, you know, we've spoken with them, and anybody that's really local, whether it's either purchasing or dealing with them as far as the products or just business wise, but trying to really work within the community, you know, support each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I love that. You concur, Keith? Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think don't be afraid to collaborate. Don't be afraid to ask lots of questions, which I've gotten much better at.
Yeah.
And advice somebody gave me was, you know, don't be afraid to ask for samples or things from the different, vendors of products you want to carry. We didn't think of that in the beginning, so we laid out a bunch of money to purchase a lot of inventory,
Yeah.
and some things sold and some things didn't, and it was like, well, probably could have gotten a lot of that for free, just
To
by
try it.
asking people to try it out. So that would probably be
Yeah.
at
That's
the
a
top.
really great piece of advice because I think asking for those samples, asking for, hey, we want to sell your product in our store, but we want to try it before we buy it, or give some of the product to our customers to,
Yeah.
see if their pets like it and if it's going to be a seller. That's really a great piece of advice because there's so much. There's so much. Like if you go to any of the trade shows, I don't know if you guys are going to Super Zoo or any of the upcoming distributor shows, it's overwhelming to somebody that's brand new to the industry. Even if you're niche down and you're looking for specific, there's a lot more raw food companies than there were 10 years ago. You only saw one or two back 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so what area, this is a hot button question, but what area, as in terms of pet food and nutrition, would you like to see improve in the pet industry?
I'd like to see improve in the area of pet food.
Pet food and nutrition.
I would say more transparency from the various commercial, brands that are out there. Um, they'll say, beef is the first ingredient, and then it makes people think, okay, well, then it must be really good for my dog. But then when you realize that it's like beef byproducts, or some part of the cow that is really not that nutritionally valuable, but it's probably inexpensive, and therefore that's why it's in the kit.
Right.
We try and locally source all of our products as local to the island and or, within, New York, United States, just as best as possible. So definitely, I agree. Same thing, transparency from companies where their products are coming from. Because we always looked at it. If we're looking to bring a new product into the store, sometimes we got to dig pretty deep to find out where is it coming from. Where is its ingredients and sources.
Yeah, very often it'll say ships from USA.
Yeah.
But then when you dig deeper, you realize that it was not made in the US, and it's probably taken a ship or something else to get here, and then it ships from here.
Yeah. You have to look when it says, if it's not a food product necessarily, but it'll say manufactured in the USA. So then you have to ask the question, where are the ingredients from? Some of the ingredients, like lamb, is really great from New Zealand, right? They have like the best lamb, right? So that's one thing. And there's, there are certain products that they may have more superior ingredients, but I love the local aspect of it. People don't think of Long Island as farm country, but we have a ton of farms on Long Island, and the whole farm to table, farm to bowl movement is now a bigger thing that I love to see when people are like, this is from the farm and now it's in your dog's bowl. It's not, it's skipping the middle part.
Yeah, we actually carry quail eggs from a local farm here on Long
Okay.
Island, and you know you know we advertise basically from farm to bowl for the dog.
Yeah.
It's less than 10 miles.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't
Yeah.
get much more local than that.
Yeah, I love that. And I would definitely think and say to other retail stores that are, in your niche or interested in your niche in other areas of the country to try to do that because people love that. They want to support local farms and they want to know that it was close, right? Like, wow, you got what farm was that? I love that. Is there anything that I did not ask you about Raw by Design that you want to tell me about?
I think we hit that pretty well.
Yeah, I think
You know what I should ask you? I want to ask you about cats. Do you get a lot of cat parents in there? Because most people think about raw food and they just think of dogs.
I wouldn't say it's a lot, but we do get people coming in for cats.
Yeah.
Um,
We do have frozen raw for cats. We have freeze dried, for cats as well. We have some cat treats and whatnot. We get occasionally people coming in. We're hoping we'll see some more volume.
and quite a bit of the foods that we have that are not cat specific, and they appear to be dog specific,
Yeah.
they're actually totally suitable for cats as well.
That's interesting. That's something you could say as a retailer to the brand. Maybe their marketing could also include cats in the packaging because a lot of times I see stuff that I'll ask, is this okay for cats? Because some things are not, right?
Right.
And then they'll say, oh, yeah, cats can have that too. And I'm like, but there's no cat on the label. There's no information about, how much you should feed a cat. So as
Right.
retailers, you have to go back to the brands and tell them that because then they'll say, oh, we didn't even think of that, or we're coming up with that, or one of those things. Because I know feeding raw food to cats is becoming increasingly more popular. So for anybody that's watching that is local to Long Island in the Cold Spring area, you can now know that you can go to Raw by Design in Cold Spring Harbor. I think it's quite interesting, and it's something that maybe you can host an event around because nobody really talks about cat nutrition. And I know some of our cat aficionado members that have cat specific stores, or they are always talking about it, but not enough people are doing it. And most people that have a cat usually have more than one, and they would probably be very interested in that.
I think they would benefit. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then maybe when we talk to you in a year, you'll be like, Nancy, now I have 6 dogs and 6 cats. Thanks a lot.
Could happen.
It could happen. It is cat season right now. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys being on today and talking about your store. Congratulations on coming up to 1 year. I will be up to visit soon.
Thank you.
Let me know where people can find everything they need to know about Raw by Design.
Where they can find it. So
Yes.
our website, www.rawbydesignli, as in Long Island.com.
Okay, great. And where can they find you if they're looking for you online? Are you guys active on any social media that you want to share?
That's active on Facebook and Instagram. We have a little bit of content on YouTube.
All right, great. So they will look for you at Raw by Design on your website, la.com, rawbydesignla.com. And hopefully they'll go and follow you guys, especially if they're local, on Facebook and Instagram. Keith and Ray, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Take care.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.